Dear white people, as black and brown American, I understand your fear of a multiracial nation. In the United States for 5 centuries, we've been using binary thinking in which, you are with me or you are against me. Perhaps that is why, when we speak of the slave owners we must speak of the enslaved. When we speak colonizers we must speak of the colonized. If we speak of the rich we must speak of the poor. When we speak of white people we must speak of black people. When we speak of the oppressors we must speak of the oppressed. When we speak of the one who has we must speak of the one who does not have. But, right now, we must unintentionally speak of a new term that produces fear in the hearts of people in a white America, which was erased from American history, popularly known as multiracial identity, which breaks with that binary mentality that for centuries has been part of American history, in which you are either black or white, ignoring the racial miscegenation between both groups. An American story, where the fear of change in white people is something I understand as a black person in an America that is turning increasingly brown, challenging that idea of an America that only exists in the mind of white Americans. My dear white people, I am going to explain some reasons why you should not be afraid of the change that living in a brown America means. Different from you as black people, black or brown Latino, mestizo, biracial and American Indian, the superiority of the brown, black or multiracial race is not part of our mentality, different from how you think. As part of the multiracial or colored community in America we only seek racial equality, economic equality, social equality, political equality and equality in opportunity to achieve the American dream in an equal way. Dear white people, as black and brown American, I understand your fear of a multiracial nation. As white people in America, another things that you should understand as a white person in a brown America, it does not mean that you should be afraid of dying at the hands of the police because you are white, much to be discriminated against because of your white skin color, because of your social position, much less because you can be considered as immigrants in your own land. Finally, being arrested by the police for walking in a neighborhood of people of color or multiracial, it will never be your concern. Being part of a multiracial nation as a white person will guarantee the same rights as a person of color. My dear white people, let me tell you what your future could be in a multiracial and multicultural nation where all people will be equal in the eyes of God and the laws. In a brown nation, as a white person you will never suffer from racism or racial exclusion, and you will have an equal chance of achieving the American dream. In short, in a brown nation, you will not have to fight for civil rights, least of all in an affirmative action plan that benefits white people, because like everyone else you will have the right to a college education. Dear white people, as black people I understand your fear in a new America in which a racial group will not receive privileges for their skin color. In a brown multiracial nation you will not be afraid because you are part of the minority. You will not have to feel inferior because the superiority of one race over another will cease to exist, and you will not be afraid of suffering discrimination because you are white. Another thing to consider, people with brown skin will never see you less because you are white, and above all they will never feel the negative effects of racial segregation in public schools, public places, public transport, the segregation of bathrooms and restaurants. Believe me when I tell you, you will not live under Jim Crow laws, and you can be assured that you will never be lynched for being white, much less you will have to fear the hatred of any racist group dressed in white in the dark of night like the one represented by the Ku Klux Klan, because as part of a multiracial nation one racial group is not superior to another. Dear white people, as people of color I understand your fear in a brown America. In a multiracial nation as a white person, people of color will never feel fear when you approach it, nor will they feel the fear of being robbed because you are a white person. In many public places no one will deny you entry or look at you suspiciously because you are white. In a nation where whites are considered a minority, you will have the opportunity to run for any elective office without the interference of people with brown skin. Much less people of color will create obstacles for you to vote without restrictions for the candidate that you like the most, independently whether it is white, black or colored. My dear white people, let me tell you why you should not be afraid of living in a multiracial and multicultural brown nation. In a multiracial nation you will not be discriminated against for being poor, homeless, uneducated, nor will you have to live in neighborhoods full of drugs, prostitution and where crime prevents you from living a quiet life. Nor will you be afraid for you or your children when they walk through the unsafe streets as a result of street gangs. But above all, you will not be afraid of being killed by a brown policeman because you are white. My dear white people, I will try to explain a different way of seeing an American nation where multiracial relationships, whether you want to accept it or not, is changing how Americans will look at the future of an American nation where brown skin color will not be a novelty or something that should embarrass people. A society where black and brown people will not have to deny their skin color, much less bleach their skin to be accepted by a white minority. A multiracial society where, in the same way that you feel pride in being white, those who identify as multiracial, black, or brown feel pride in who they are as a person. A multiracial society where the phrase equal but separate is a thing of the past. A society where a black, white or brown child can play without looking at their skin color and accept themselves as equals. An American society where we can all aspire to be part of the American dream without looking at skin color, because in a multiracial society skin color is the least important when it comes to being American. My dear white people, I know that you fear demographic change, cultural change, new way of doing things, customs that seem foreign, a language that you do not understand, a global integration that you do not control, and above all realize that you live in a more competitive and demanding world where your skin color is not a guarantee of anything. Reasons why you cling to the old way and avoid the new, for not understanding that America is changing and there is nothing you can do. My dear white people, it is time to let go of the hatred of the past and look to the future. It is time to throw the fear of change aside and look at the future of America with optimism, because our strength is in the differences that we have. My dear white people, it is time to look at the things that unite us, not the things that make us different, distrustful of each other, but above all to understand that it does not matter your skin color, political ideology, possession of wealth, religious belief, preference sexual, in the end each one of us ending up being an American in the eyes of God. If you like this type of topic, please subscribe to this channel and like this video.